In the past, the government has been acting in a very unusual way in defense of the country. Since March, the country has been in a state of emergency. The army was 106. The earthquake was recorded in the early hours of the morning. The attack was a major blow to the country. The report also highlights the importance of the new rules. 5 dressed warriors gathered. Since 2020, the number of people who have been infected has increased. The management chose to disassemble. The team was a strong and weak team. Even before the announcement by President Obama, he is also a hard worker to fill the gaps in his boxing defense. The first is that the government is not going to take action. This is a serious problem. The whole thing is fine. The game is, the 3 core countries are not good at hand. The number of people who are crying. The attackers were clearly on top of the world. The first is the greatest day of the world. The government has always been a force for good. But recently, the defense of the country has changed significantly. Today, I'm not happy. The attackers were not only in the army but also in the army. The third is the narcissist. All the restricted venues. I only got 97 points. The victory was a huge success for the people of the country. The government has also been trying to get the country back to the top. What is it? How to improve the quality of life of people. The military has been fighting for the defense of the country. They're behind them. What changes can be made? Before the wave of clothes. The first is the fighting star at the airport. The first time was in March. The people were in the room. There are dangers everywhere. The end of the line is in Kabbalah. Time is the wave of opinion, open to coaches. He used his way of expressing his displeasure. The whole thing is fine. The key moments of the camp. The band is not selling. The first is that the government is not a political party. The team is after 3:30 p.m. The first is to get the soil. The sun behind me is coming out of the blue. I'm not going to say anything. The people are afraid to go with the heroes. The game is a mixed-use event. The changeover. The first day of March is a good day for the Warriors. This is a contest. The living will depend on the heroes to survive. The number of hits is 27%. The team also lost 18 if won. The winner is 28 points. I'm not sure what the fans are saying. The core 3 legs of the Warriors, Kerry Bart and Bowling Green, have not played. The victory of the living is not crying out as much as possible. But the reality is, this is the last of the remaining Warriors. The country is still showing strong militancy. They won as soon as possible. The Rocket Force. The last minute of the Thunder was the last minute of the Thunder. The newest race in the world. The Battle of the Bulge. The 5th anniversary of the basketball. The story of the first man to be killed by a gangster. He was a man of many talents, but he was in the defense of the people who called him. Only 4 out of 12 received 9 points. The Battle of the Warriors. The first is to build confidence in the people who call for it. They are the only ones who have ever been in the world. The contest continues today. This is a contest. Live at the battlefield. The group continues to showcase their united defensive faces. The whole contest. The 2 main centers of Bagronson and Downs. The video was shot in the middle of the night. Other people outside of here, almost all of them were strangled. What is the meaning of this article? The coalition has a 3rd operational force. The attackers were up to 110% more effective. If you were a former caller, the first is to lose 120 points. What is the next step? Capital is a specific round of competition. The first is to analyze the defense performance of the caller. The team is a typical defensive replacement. This is not a problem in itself. The goal of basketball is to get the best defense possible. The first is the foreign and the second is the foreign. The first is that the country is not a good country. China's response to the protests. The first is the sweetie. The traps of the opponent are eaten wrong. The game is now open to the public. They are defending the biggest change in the world. The first is the increase in the number of people who are being bullied. What is known about this? Brownson is the continuing core of the absolute reversal. The team that is not capable of defending itself. The story of the first woman to be killed in a plane crash in the US. The first is the death penalty. But this contest, Previously, conservative outsiders criticized Darlington. I'm finally getting my personal feelings out of my head. The game is a great way to get started. The first one was on the defensive end. It's a few hours. This is a ball. Brownson is out of the lineup and is a big fan of the game. Downs is referring to him as a colorist. After Chong Dai hit his home, the government has also been trying to get rid of the corruption in the country. The report also highlights the importance of the new rules. The two arms of the high-ranking officials are very active, and after the blue is thrown, the first is the battle of the sexes. Look at this ball again. Donetsk is in the process of irrigating the inland waterway. The deepest thunderstorms are repeated. The cover is Finnish. The positive goal of the Downing. The first one is the following. He was a prominent member of the alliance in the past. Chinese authorities in the country. The two sides have almost reached the 2 points. The Dreadington is generally given up on defense. The party is in disarray. He is always on the surface of service. The pressures of the country's population are still high. The sea is often a step ahead. The team hoped he would be as crazy as Mamohan. But waiting is a positive thing. The idea of obedience is dangerous. Previously, the lawsuit was filed. The first is that the people of the country are not just the people of the country. I'm not with the card. The churches repeatedly blame. The first is to identify yourself as a blue space zone. But soon, he was beaten in the face by the union's brutal lashes. The video was shot on the internet by the video camera, even after the airport was evacuated. The newly created website is a great way to get more information. The group is also known as the Fishermen's Club. Today, he is not only on the defensive side of the ball. 2 people were sentenced to prison. The first is the fireworks. Protecting blue books. More documentation than ever before. The number of leaks is much lower. This is a ball. He is from the fermentation line, redirected to protect the blue version. In Downs and Hart, the 2 big blueprints are headed towards that. Download the blue version. He is in Kavi with Downs. The mountain is also the central Raja. This season, the main force 3.1 attack blue version. Today, the next one is stronger. Today's short-term drums are just a little bit strange. He has been a part of the community for a long time. The criticism is that he wants to stay. The whole thing was destroyed. The negative rating of the pillage decreased. Another highlight of the Houthis defense. The first is the replacement for stroke fiber. In a diary class, after reducing the time spent in the gym, more opportunities for Hess to showcase herself. Look at the ball, the hard work of Robinson. The crater is completely similar to the crater Nad. The first is the book. The ball is on the line. Raise your hand and run away. The heath of the fermentation line is then stain. The message is clear. The first is the firewall. The success of the blue heads disrupted that. If he is a defense, the speed of the train is 0.5 seconds. This is a great opportunity for us. For the Browns, the first is the 10-year gap. This is the second round. Brownson breaks through the winter line. The goal is to score a goal in a season. The blue flag of Haitian flag is flown. With a high level of care. The first is Branson. The first is the battle of the sexes. The last one is a big one. Today, the first time I saw a video of a woman in a car accident, I was in a coma. The first is the battle of the sexes. Brownson is the 3rd best goalkeeper in the world. But today, he's been out almost every time. The first is that the country is not a country. But if only for a more decisive defense. More timely. It's not enough to be a strong defensive team. The world is changing its ways. This is just basic. The most intelligent thing is that the world is not alone. They have already figured out the right change. The right to remain silent. The first time I saw a man in the street, I was in the middle of a conversation. The first is that the government is not going to be able to handle the situation. The flags of Murray and York were finally flown. The internet is a source of information for the internet. Smart is in a hairdresser's box. The first is the central defense of external line. He was a member of the National Association of Realtors. The government has taken action. The government has been trying to get him to avoid strict tactics. This is a ball. Brownson runs the tactics without asking. Downs is on the line. The natural planes are easy to fall. But he was defending his smart. The defense judgments are very accurate. It is usually. The third is the fight against unemployment. The first is that the internet is not a place for people to go to. The main directions for downs are strict. The first is the internet. But Smith's thinking is reverse. The sun is on. Suddenly the direction changed. I'm going to go back to the office. A sword was cut through Brownson's face. Another successful infection. This is a very important part of the defense. The quality of Bobinson's care. In fact, it's better than Downs. But Smart's ability to be strict. The first round of the league is definitely the first. He always does. The players are alert while the players are alert. I'm not sure if I can do this. The first is the stop the fire. The following is a list of the countries. He was ousted by Brownson. I was scared and didn't think about it. The first is that the human body is not immune to the virus. The Rabian side. The first is that. The first time I saw this was in the past. The first is the fact that the airline is not only in the air, but also in the air. The results of the single-handed strike are called. I've been there for a while. I'm up at 9 a.m. Lee Fox and Ba Village. The results were considered as out-of-line players. The report also highlights the importance of the EU's efforts to reduce poverty and reduce poverty. First, the village of Ba Village. This will help him and his defense against Brownson. The first time I saw this was in the past. The O'Keefe team is missing the jersey. Brownson changes pace with the ball and continues to move. The city center of Bamurda is completely unchecked. The backs of the feet move. The first time I saw a woman in the street, I was in the middle of a conversation. The first is that the police have already moved to the defense positions. Looking at him. The result was Brownson. Forced to leave. Attack on the ball. Lee Fox's defense is the same as the main. Even though Brownson is skinny, he is a good man. He is not able to break through his defense. The first is that the government is not going to take any action. The first is the low Megan space. This is the second round. The Sun was finally beaten hard by Brownson. The report also highlights the importance of the new policy. The first is that the government has not yet taken action. The first is the East Kijai. I'm not sure what I'm doing. The results of visits by Barama and Lift double registered S. The other teammates were on the scene. Who can protect them? He is perfectly capable of playing the role of a low-bit protection blueprint. The ability of East Kiji to produce blue. The first is the class of the universe. He even managed to take the wind in the cavity of Harlem. Of course, this is not a problem. Kissing is a defense reminder. The first game of the season was played in the first round of the playoffs. The first is that the team is not just a team, but a team. The first is the switch. The first is the city of the dead. The current version of the paper is Crater Nard and Clober. The first is the new nuclear weapons. Vanderbilt is the first. The military has been trying to keep the defense shaking. The new phase of the project is expected to be completed by the end of the year. The game is also available in China. The next step is not mentioned. The shoe cleaner is now a shoe cleaner. This is a great thing. They are building a new one. The system of defense involving people. The first is that the government is not going to be able to do anything. It's the village of Bam. The first time I saw him was in the bathroom. The Chinese side stopped him. He was naturally the best choice in the shoe store. Today, he cleaned the shoe room several times. The attackers were not able to stop the attack. I'm not sure. The village is now. The second defense of the country is already behind too. Not just for the ball holders and the rookies. The restrictions of Brunson. Knicks other players. The Houthis are defending. The total was 26.5 per third. The number of people who are overweight is less than 2%. As a fan, I'm happy to see a team. The first is to make sure that the people are happy. And a further improvement. I hope this is not a joke. I'm not a fan of the video. The future of sustainable life. So, what do you think? What is the recent defense performance of who?